Check it, check it, check it. What's up? Yo, everybody, what's going on, man? Man and ladies, thanks for jumping on. K Creative, Kevin Townsend here with Bamboo Solutions today. Going to be doing our SharePoint weekly newsletter roundup. Yep, gonna do that thing. Got a long weekend ahead of us here. Who's pumped? I'm gonna go hit the Appalachian Trail actually. Gonna do the Maryland segment of it. It'll be fun. So what do we got going on today? We're going to cover the news. If you're not familiar, we've got a newsletter we send out every Friday at 8 a.m. I'll paste a link to it here in chat. Get registered for that. It's an awesome newsletter. If you're in the Microsoft SharePoint space, this is a pretty good consolidation of news that's happened over the last 7 days. Keeps you up to speed. Yeah. Good stuff. So anyways, on Fridays we go over it at noon together, live, streaming. That way I can kind of chat and hang out with you guys. Oh, they got a new stream dashboard. That's pretty cool. On Twitch. We are streaming live to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All the details up there on our screen right now. That's cool. They got some a new UI here that looks pretty good. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's go check out our newsletter. Get started. How y'all doing today? What's new? There we go. So this is a MailChimp newsletter. If you've never seen it before, if you've never interacted with MailChimp before, it's a service we use to send out newsletters to our registered users, and there's options up here in the browser that you can interact with MailChimp and all the rest of the newsletters that we've put out. If you click on past issues, you can actually go check out the previous week's news and get caught up there if you're interested. Otherwise, the breakdown of our newsletter looks something like this. We got top news story coming from like the media outlets, the magazines, the big blogs out there that kind of do this professionally, and then we have the Around the Blogosphere, and this is a little bit more enthusiast related, so the content here is generally a little bit more specific and technical in nature and things like that, whereas top news stories are a little bit more about upcoming things and big news around Microsoft, Office, SharePoint, Azure, whatever, right? So yeah, we'll go through some of the blogs, the recent stuff that's come out this past week, or at least close to the past 7 days. And then we have a bunch of events that we'll talk about at the end there. So without further ado, let's do this. Top news stories this week. October 2019 cumulative updates. SharePoint 2019, 16, 13, 10. No 2007? Come on. All right, so anyways, I'm not going to go into those, but usually some good info there if you're a SharePoint administrator and interested in those things. I'll just click on one to show you here. So if you've never seen these posts, that's what you're looking at. So you're looking at somewhat of a recap of the KBs that are involved, and then the access to the downloads and some details around those. So get some of that if you're an admin looking for a little update on that. SharePoint security fixes released with October 2019 PU and offered through Microsoft Update. Same kind of a post here. This is regarding the product update, right? So what do we got here? Excel Service 2013. In 2013, we got these kinds of updates. We got 2016 Suite, yada, yada, yada. So some good admin posts there. New stuff coming out. Check that out. Microsoft adds SharePoint 2010 site support to migration tool. I saw this. I think this actually came out last week, this news. But we got another post here about it. So if you're not familiar with the SharePoint migration tool, yeah, I believe it's still in version, it's in version 3 now. Currently at version 3.2. It's ready for production use by organizations. It didn't used to allow you to migrate 2010 content to SharePoint Online, but it appears that that is now a good feature of that. So previously, the tool just supported migrating SharePoint Server 2013 sites to SharePoint Online. The updated tool can now move content to 3 Office 365 services, including SharePoint Online, OneDrive, and Teams. And this tool's getting full-fledged here. I didn't think they were going to take it this far because we have so many partners out there that provide the same capability. So it's interesting to see that. Yep. What else they got going on? The ability to move SharePoint 2010 sites is arriving in the nick of time. SharePoint Server 2010 Service Pack 2 will be exiting its extended support phase on October 13, 2020. So we're looking at about a year now from now. It'll be an unsupported product after that date, which means that it won't get any more free security patches from Microsoft. Whoop, whoop. You got to get off of that. 1 year. Here we go. It can move out of the box SharePoint sites. In other words, sites that don't use any coding or third-party tools can be migrated. That's good. On-premise diagnostic tool. So another command line tool recently updated for SharePoint Server 2019 and SharePoint Server 2016 environments is the on-prem diagnostic tool, the OPT. Who's down with OPT? Which appears to be newly released at version 2 per a Friday Microsoft announcement. There may be different versions of the OPT tool available, they're saying. GitHub install instructions explained. Okay, the OPT tool checks for various SharePoint 2019 and SharePoint 2016 administrative scenarios, including patch support status, Active Directory imports, email lists, and timer jobs. It also checks SQL query performance, user profile issues, and search issues. Wow, that's pretty awesome. There's also support for assessing setup upgrade details, such as checking for missing features in the content database. And then you got the page diagnostic tools. Whoop. Talked about those last week too. Those are awesome. Definitely gonna help us consultants in the SharePoint space doing some modern stuff. Make sure our things are optimized, right? So what's the difference between Office 365 and Microsoft 365? Common question. Hence the blog post over it on Microsoft here. So if you're running a medium, small, large business or responsible for an enterprise, you've likely been considering a Microsoft subscription to fulfill your needs. What are these two things? Microsoft 365 and Office 365. So they say the subscription service combines a lot of Microsoft's existing products under one license aimed towards the enterprise and businesses. Essentially a bundle of services that include all of the Office 365 services and desktop apps with the addition of 2 special products. The 2 products include Windows 10 licenses and enterprise mobility and security tools. So what is enterprise mobility and security, you say? Well, it's essentially, they say, helps keep both you and your customer data safe. The service helps put you in control of your company devices and helps you defend against malware and accidental leaks. There you go. So you get Windows 10 licensing, you get security, extra security, and tools to manage that, and Office 365 services with the desktop applications for Microsoft Office. So that's Microsoft 365. Office 365 then is a cloud-based suite of apps and services, includes access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and a few other collaboration services, including SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Yammer Planner, Microsoft Stream, and more. Just to name 20. They're quite the bit of robust apps, they say. So Office 365 plans don't include any of the extra enterprise mobility and security tools covered by Microsoft 365. But there are, however, additional tools in Office 365 Business Premium, which can help you with invoices, customer management, booking appointments, and more. But these tools are included in most Microsoft 365 Business. So overall, you're missing the Windows licensing and the enterprise mobility and security in Office 365, as far as I can tell. If you want advanced security tools and want to manage your devices on your own, then you got to go with Microsoft 365 and not Office 365. Good little tidbit there, because that question comes up quite often. Let's see here. Microsoft's Windows into Azure plan breaks legacy desktop deployment model. Windows into Azure. So we're moving to a world where Windows will be consumed out of Azure and with the best security, economics, and performance. That's part of the new WVD, Windows Virtual Desktop, going to GA, I think, recently. Let's see here. It became generally available September 30th. Brings the same kind of Azure shift to Windows and Windows updates that Microsoft achieved by moving the Office software SKU to the cloud. But here we go. I can't wait to the day, man. I'm looking forward to that. I was talking to a buddy about this. I don't know if Jason you're on or not, but yeah, the question was, what's the protocol that it's using? Not sure if we'll find out here, but let's see, because the RDP protocol is not necessarily the best. So some might say. I don't know. So anyways, what do we got going on here? So it's a historic moment in the history of computing, said the CEO of IGEL North America, which is making a huge investment to support WVD with its secure Linux-based lightweight endpoint operating system. MSPs and solution providers just don't understand the implications of Windows Virtual Desktop. Over the last 34 years, Microsoft's come out with 16 different versions of their operating system. That is over, they're saying. So for the first time ever, they're saying Microsoft is leaning into delivering Microsoft Windows from Azure with WVD. The same play Microsoft ran over the last 5 years with Office. Okay, the whole paragraph to recap that. So perfect storm, he's saying here, conservatively estimating 50 million customers moving to WVD over the next 3 years. That's based in large part on the enormous cost savings Microsoft is making available with this experience. They're touting a 70% savings in infrastructure and 60% licensing cost savings and 60% savings on labor costs by using WVD. That's pretty drastic. Microsoft is essentially in real-time virtualizing Windows. They own the Windows code, can make changes at will, and they own the backplane it is running on in Azure. They're going to be able to do things with VDI that competitors could never even dream of. Multi-session allows you to run multiple users on a single VM. It's a massive breakthrough. It brings the cost of in-user infrastructure down by as much as 80%. Ayers said Microsoft's effectively creating an economic model that drives Azure at warp speed as the preferred consumption model for Windows desktops for small businesses to the biggest global enterprise customers. So they own the OS, the licensing, the storage, and the compute this is going to run on. He said they'll have all the variables at their disposal to make this very attractive. Every enterprise is going to have to entertain this model because of the flexibility, security, and cost advantages. True that. I've already actually been trying to push this solution for a couple of small businesses. So being that it's just now in GA, I have not gone through a complete configuration of it, but I'm super anxious to see how this is going to work. One of the biggest prospective sales targets, 70 million customers still running on Windows 7 who will start to be charged for support of the operating system effective January 14th of this next year. You can run Windows 7 in Azure with WVD, said Ayers. Microsoft has customers trying to get off of Windows 7 boxed into a corner. True that. That is good timing, isn't it? Let's anything else big in here? So they're trying to make it part of every conversation that they have. Vice President of End-User Computing for Intersys 360. We're excited about the concept and ideas that Microsoft is bringing to the table, including multi-session Windows 10 and the Office 365 optimizations. That's a long post here on this. So I'm not going to go through all that, but just know that WVD is going to be a big deal. And Microsoft's focusing on that becoming sort of how they drive everyone into acquiring Windows potentially. Well, not everyone. There will always be edge cases, right? There's always going to be government entities that need not that solution, at least for the near future, probably. Microsoft's Windows, yep, did that one. Microsoft's unified Office mobile app, what it is and why it matters. The Office mobile app. Okay, the unified Office mobile app. Now that Microsoft's poised to become an Android phone maker, if you guys didn't see the, what are they called? The Neo and, what do they say here? It was the Neo and something else. The Surface, it's the new Surface devices. They're going to run Android. Anyways, now that that's happening and they've kind of announced that, it's a good time to look at what's happening with Office on Android. So while Microsoft's developed versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Outlook, and more productivity apps for Android, and put them in the Google Store, sometimes these apps can be overkill in terms of features and sizes. Okay, I don't use them that often myself. I've got both Android and iPhone. I don't tend to use them. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess I'm not really mobile that often, so I don't have that problem. But let's see here. So they are preloading those apps on Samsung Galaxy Note 10. They're saying What else? Microsoft Office Mobile is a single app that Galaxy users can download from Samsung's store or access as a preloaded app on select Samsung devices. Right now, it's not available for other Android devices from the Google Play Store. This Office for Android app lets users view documents and edit Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files. So it's a single app that provides functionality for all three of those products, it sounds like. The trusted Office apps that let you create, edit, view, and share files are now available for download as a single convenient app. Okay, Office Mobile includes the complete Word, PowerPoint, and Excel apps to offer a convenient Office experience on the go. Using the Office Mobile app, work with your Word, Excel, PowerPoint files anytime from anywhere. The convenient Office Mobile app keeps your recent work at your fingertips. Familiar and powerful editing, formatting, and management tools make it easy to work on files as you would on your desktop. What am I doing here? I want to move there. Okay. Anything else about the Office mobile app? So they're going to offer a unified Microsoft Office mobile app for Windows at some point. Not sure. Okay. Speculation. They are saying iOS should be getting the same. Got it. It's the Duo. Sorry, the Surface Duo is the Android-based Surface that's coming up. Get them confused there. Let's see. Microsoft alternatively could opt to turn its existing web versions of the Office apps into progressive web apps. So far that hasn't happened, but Microsoft did announce earlier this year that it was pulling the online part of the name of these web apps and referring to them simply as Office. There isn't currently a solution like this for Windows 10 devices. It did launch something in late 2018 that's somewhat comparable, called the Office app for Windows 10. That free app is a replacement for the Microsoft My Office app. It offers a landing page-like experience designed to help users find the downloadable local Office apps as well as their own files. Yeah, I don't really use that app either. Betting we'll hear more about this in early November at Ignite. There you go. New unified Office mobile app. Microsoft Edge dev channel updated with general improvements and bug fixes. So let's see what they're saying here. There are also some messaging updates related to extensions and more. All you guys out there using Microsoft Edge, Chromium-based Edge yet? What are they calling it? Edgium? Something like that. So we got another update this week in the dev channel. The update doesn't include any major new features, but there are a ton of bug fixes and general improvements. Testers can grab the update as version 79.0.294.1 now. Another weekly update is out for Microsoft Edge. Whoop. Let's see, here's a whole list of stuff, okay. Fixed issues, added, improved messaging. What else? Improved the appearance of the download shelf. So I'm actually viewing this right now in the dev channel. What was the thing I just read? Improve the appearance of the taskbar icon when using multiple profiles. Okay, so we got nothing major, but we got some updates, some fixes, and some improvements to areas in the dev channel there for Microsoft Edge Chromium-based browser. Right, let's go down to around the blogosphere. Let's move on. 1221, here we go. Multilingual publishing for modern SharePoint sites. What? Is this a solution or is this something that's coming? Oh, okay, so they finally revealed in public a few hours ago the multilingual SharePoint pages. Compared to a fully featured product like PointFire, it's a bit, let's say, rudimentary in that the list of what it will not do is longer than the list of what it does, of course. But it's an important part of the multilingual landscape, and we're still months away, they're saying, from the release. In general terms, what will this do? It allows modern pages in the site pages library to be copied and manually translated to other languages. It does allow a user to navigate from one language version of such a page to a different language version by using a language toggle in the page header. The language toggle is different from the PointFire language toggle. I guess that's one of their products. That's why they're covering this. Let's see here, do we have any examples? Here's some settings, site languages, turn it on, off, it looks like, or translation. So after a modern page has been created in the site's default language, while in edit mode, a site user can begin the translation process. It creates a copy of the page to special folders in the same library that correspond to the desired language of the translation, and sends an email to the translators. These folders seem to correspond to a 2-character language code. Subsequent edits to the original page can result in new emails to the translators, but not in a new copy. Okay. So somewhat of a manual process in there, it sounds like, but starting to accommodate. So that's nice. I know that's a big deal. How to Angular elements in SharePoint Framework projects. All right, Andrew Connell in the house with another post. Came out, when was this? When's the 5th? That was last Saturday. Okay. So 4-part series on using Angular in SharePoint Framework projects. The 4 parts were using Angular elements in SharePoint Framework projects. Number 2 was how to Angular elements in this particular subject. This post is the how to for 2 projects as opposed to 1 big project. And then we have the 4, the good, bad, and the ugly. Kind of a recap there. So that's cool. That's probably something to follow along with if you're interested in developing against SharePoint. And if you're interested in Angular solutions. SharePoint Dev Weekly, episode 55. There we go. Yep, this video and podcast series, pretty awesome. So if you haven't been following along, get into this. Here's a little bit of some of the recap of the things that went on there, as well as the video to watch. Over some of the topics they covered here. SharePoint roadmap, React check flows, web part, how to check SharePoint framework versions, library components, low-code solutions for publishing Teams conversations on SharePoint. That's kind of neat. Go check that out real quick. Oh, they're using Flow. So in Flow, what are they doing? Create the flow, create a view and format it. What? Teams feed, okay. What kind of list is that they used? HTML to text. User profiles needed. Okay. Create item in a SharePoint list. Yeah. Oh, it's an announcements list. I got it. And then they formatted it to have a nice design there. Nice, nice. Change that song. All right. SharePoint supports now 3D model previews. What does it mean and how can you use it? I think this has been talked about for a little bit. If this is regarding those CAD files, is a GLB file the same as a CAD? I don't know. Actually, 3D is probably different, isn't it? Firmly believe that many areas in the industry already work for a long time in 3D. Well, and I have approved to make 3D models accessible to anyone is beneficial to everyone in your company. Okay, not only the industry can benefit from, okay, the industry. Graduated technical college for machinery engineering in my hometown, Linz, in Upper Austria. Okay, they created 2D drawings of their engine parts, and for graduation, he had to construct an industrial heat exchanger from scratch, all in 2D. So for now, okay, wouldn't it be... What's the solution? Show me something. Yeah, so the possibilities of 3D on SharePoint and Office 365 are endless. Like to discuss in a new package design for your products. Open your team, schedule, and start a meeting and present 3D model of a product packaging interactively. Yep, so just kind of talking through some of the use cases and how you might leverage these 3D previews throughout SharePoint and that experience. Pretty neat. I did not... I knew they were making the CAD drawings available, but I think 3D is going to be different than that, right? For preview. And they have PDF preview. Well, there was something else that came out about PDFs as well. What else we got going on? Creating engaging content in SharePoint Online. Make your content pop. Make it pop. What do we got here? Creating engaging content in SharePoint. Yep. We focused on making the content relevant, making sure the reader finds it useful. Now it's time to concentrate on making an impact on the reader by crafting content that not only looks good, but that embarks the reader on a journey that pushes that person to read the next paragraph. All right. Our brain is lazy. Not only make it interactive, add documents, videos, and social media channels or posts. Use a description to summarize your idea. stop repeating yourself, save that gem as a template. What else? That's it? Yeah. There was in the first article was to make the content relevant, so that might be something to read too if you're kind of going through some content drafting and design here. Trying to get your intranet polished. Good post there. SharePoint development community, the P&P call. There you go. Some of the updates out of that one. When was this? Was this on October 8th? Something like that. What did they talk about? A bunch of dev FX web parts, extensions, unique visitors during the past 2 weeks, key statistics, blog posts. Yeah, just a ton of information out there around all this stuff, right? Getting you guys familiar with, if you're not already, and just making it accessible to everyone so that they have the knowledge that this stuff is out there. That's pretty key for me. 3 ways to author blogs in SharePoint and Office 365. SharePoint Maven. Whoop. Option 1, blog site template in SharePoint. Okay. Option 2, Office 365 Delve blog functionality. Nice. I haven't ever actually messed with that. So there's in Delve, you've got a profile page, and there's a new post to add to a blog there. That's interesting. What else? Option 3, news web part feature. Yep. That one seems pretty commonly adopted across our customers at this point. All right, there you go. 3 ways to create a blog there in SharePoint. Or Office 365. How do I know if SharePoint folder is also a Teams channel? Simple. SharePoint will show it. It seems that this feature took just over 1.5 years to be released, but well, it's here finally. Stop moaning. That includes me, who thought it was a must requirement from day 1 of Teams. Okay. So how do you identify it? You pretty much just go through the document library and click on the folders, and you'll have a new message across the top. This is a Teams channel. Boom. Easy enough. Power Apps Gallery driven by managed metadata. Seems like a cool example. Let's see here. So we wanted to look at how to display managed metadata terms as labels in a gallery in Power Apps. So there's your term store here on the left side. They got hardware, they got Apple laptop or workstations, monitors, and peripherals, and then they have the specifics under those. And you can see how that aligns with the Power App here. So under Hardware Details tab, they've got it broken down into columns, buckets, whatever you want to call it, for each of the second level. Is that right? Yeah, second level of the term store terms. So this tool was so that administrators could easily add and remove terms with which the data in the Power Apps gallery can be easily controlled. So I assume, if you were to add a new item at the same level as peripherals and monitor, you'd have a new column automatically generated in the app. I'm assuming it can iterate for the term stores values. So anyways, good post here. Nice technical post on how to follow along and produce this result. If you're trying to get some Power Apps exposure, that might be a good way to go. The dilemma of choosing the right CMS. Okay. CMS for what? P. Hamad. Sadly, choosing a CMS platform is a dilemma, and even the very best in the industry end up arguing with each other. Yeah, I don't know. How SharePoint plays into this. So a content management system, if you guys don't know already, is an interface that allows users to create and manage the content of their websites, right? So I can log into this thing, I can create pages, I can create blog posts, I can do these things. That's what a CMS is. It's like a tool you can install, configure, etc. that gives you all that functionality. Pretty core technology platform that support cross-organizational goals and objectives from marketing to sales. So choosing a CMS, what do we got here? You got a discovery process, features and functionality, a bunch of different categories of features and functionality and things to consider. And then what? Got a little requirements checklist here, all right. Okay, so this is for you to use. Maybe you want to try out these 4 CMSs. Got it. Yeah, this doesn't really pertain to SharePoint, but as with all businesses of any size, we have a public web presence usually, and a CMS may be the way to go to support that. I know the majority of the world tends to use WordPress, right? But yeah, there are many options out there. Okay, so that's all the around the blogosphere. That's all the top news stories. Now we're pretty much down to SharePoint events. We got a ton of SharePoint Saturdays going on around the world. We got Cincinnati, Denver, Ensenada. I go over these every Friday and say the same ones, but sorry. So the new ones that have been added are probably near the bottom. Where's the last one? SharePoint Saturday, Munich. So Munich, Bangalore, Lisbon, Twin Cities, Leicester, Ahmedabad, Calgary, Sydney. I see. Yeah, so there's a bunch of SharePoint Saturdays going on. You got to get into some of those if you've never been. Seriously, you should go. Shake some hands, make some friends, listen to the peeps tell you all the good new stuff that's going on in the SharePoint space. What else is going on though? We got our webinar. We had our webinar yesterday for parent-child, one of our new cloud parts. So if you missed that, hit me up. I can get you access to the recorded session on that. There's another webinar next Thursday covering List Rollup. We got so many new changes coming into that product that it's amazing. It's really maturing quite quickly, and does some amazing stuff as far as rolling up content from across site collections into one single view, and giving you some functionality around that. So yep, hit me up on that. You can click these links in the newsletter to register for those webinars. What else is going on? Got our company Panda Talk, second one we'll ever have done. I gave the first one last month. Paul Hill here at Bamboo Solutions will be giving his Panda Talk on how you can accomplish no downtime SharePoint patching. So interesting. What else? M365. There's a Microsoft. What is this? It's a course. No, this is the event. M365. Sorry, that's going on in Australia. Get some of that if you're in that area. What else? European SharePoint Conference coming up December 2nd through the 5th in Prague. SharePoint Fest in December 9th through the 13th in Chicago. SB TechCon San Fran, February 18th to 21st. And then some more SharePoint Fests. So we got DC coming up next year in April. And we got Seattle coming up in August. Coming up. That's like a year away. But they're there. They're on the schedule. Time to probably start trying to make plans for that. Yeah, boys. So that's all the SharePoint news we got today. What's going on with y'all today? I'm pumped about this trip this weekend, man. Long weekend, Columbus Day weekend. Gonna do 40 miles on the Appalachian Trail. Got some new gear, get to test out. Gonna be fun. Yeah. All right, that's all I got today. I'm not gonna hang out too much longer. I gotta get a bunch of stuff done, just like you guys. So thanks for jumping on. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you guys next Wednesday for the webinar prep stream live at noon. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And then Thursday we'll have the webinar. So if you want to get registered for that, please do. And then what else? Friday we'll be back here doing this thing at noon for the weekly newsletter roundup. So thanks for jumping on. See y'all. Have a great weekend. Peace out.